Welcome back, Year 3 Order. And today we're going to go through our next Spag lesson. For today's Spag lesson, we're going to recap on some of those concepts we came across last week. So let me quickly share my screen so we can work together. To start with, there are some questions to recap. First one, when do we use a? And when do we use an? Next one, what is a homophone? And the last one, how many words can you think of that make the a sound? And you should remember there's many different ways to make that A sound. Pause the video there, have a work through those questions now, and we'll come back together in a moment's time. We'll come back together there. We're not actually going to go through those questions straight away. We're going to go back over those concepts throughout the lesson, so perhaps you can mark your own questions as we go through. First of all, we're going to recap on A and an. Now, I remember that we use an when there is a vowel sound at the start of the word. So usually A, E, I, O, or U. For example, an apple or an orange. And we use A when there is a consonant sound. So that's usually the letters that are not A, E, I, O, and U at the start of a noun. For example, a cup and a bottle. But I also remember there's some exceptions. There are some letters that might be a vowel, for example, that give you a consonant sound. And there are some consonants that might give you a vowel sound, which can make it a little bit confusing. Let's look at some examples so we can work through those together and hopefully clarify that last point. So I have some words on the board here. Let me read them to you, and as I read, decide whether it should be a or an before those words. Cat, ant, phone, cup, hour, UFO. Have a think, maybe pause the video there and have a go at working through those first of all. We'll come back together there and let's go through those words. The first one would be a cat. The letter C makes a k sound at the beginning, which is a consonant sound. The next one would be an ant. The letter A at the beginning makes an A sound, which is a vowel sound. Next one would be a phone. The P and the H together make a f sound, which is another consonant sound. The next one would be a cup. The letter C again makes a k sound here, which is a consonant sound. Now the last two were the tricky ones. The first one would be an hour. But even though there's an H there, we don't pronounce the H. We don't say an hour, we say an hour, which is why it's a vowel sound at the start and why we use an. And the last one, we'd say a UFO. And even though there's a U at the start of that word, we pronounce it with a Y, which is a consonant sound, which is why we use the letter A beforehand. If you had a go at Challenge X, are there any words that don't follow the rule? Please feel free to send that in to the usual email address. Moving on, we're going to move on to homophones, which you worked on last week with Mr. English. So homophones are words that sound the same, but are spelt differently. Which homophones do you know? Maybe pause the video there and write down any different homophones that you can remember from last time. Let's go through some together. So we have some of the main ones are there, and there. This one can be used for direction, maybe over there. This one can be belonging, their toy. This one can be short for they are. They're going to the park. Then we have to, and to. This to again can be used for a direction. I want to go to the park. This one can be used to replace the word also. So I also have a pen. I have a pen too, with the double O. And this one is the number 2. I have 2 apples, for example. Then we have are, our, and our. Are is a verb, and we might say we are doing this. Our relates to belongings. So that is our watch. And this hour relates to the time. So what hour is it? It is 6 o'clock. And lastly, where and where. This where, again, is a location. Where are we going today? And this where is a type of clothes or belongings we might wear. So I wear a shirt. There are lots and lots more. That is just a small selection of them. So if you had some different ones, wonderful. Now, for a little activity to practice our use of homophones, I have some sentences and I want you to choose the correct homophone for each one. There is an ice cream shop nearby. I have 2 pence. We won the football game. Where is the station? And I want our toy back. For each one, choose which one you think is the correct homophone. If you want to pause the video to give yourself a bit of extra time, please do. Let's go through that together. The first one would be this there. There is an ice cream shop nearby. It's referring to something that is nearby, a location of it. I have 2 pens. That one refers to the number 2. I have 2 pens. Next one, we won the football game. This is one we didn't focus on just a moment ago, but that would be the number 1. This refers to winning, so it would be that one. Where is the station? Again, that's a location. It's this where it's not to do with the type of clothes we are wearing. And I want our toy back. Now that refers to possession, so that one will be our, that spelled like that. Well done if you got all of those correct. They can be quite tricky to work out the correct homophone sometimes. Last of all, we did a lot of work on the A phoneme, the A sound. And there's lots of different ways we can make the A sound. AI, AY, EI, EIGH, EY, and AE with a letter in the middle, which is why that dash is there. Now, just like you did last time, I want you to see how many different A words you can write down. And as always, I've given you an example for each one. We won't go through all of these together because there are loads of words you can use. Maybe you can use some of the same as last time. Maybe you can use some different ones too. If you want to, feel free to send them into the email address as usual. And perhaps afterwards, use a dictionary to check your spellings are correct. Thank you for listening, Year 3 Order, and I will see you next time. Bye.